This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Monday, the 29th day of September in the year 2025. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here is what we're tracking tonight. The Guyana Police Force today urged members of the public to desist from offering bribes to its officers, reminding that offering a bribe to a police officer is a criminal offense and a serious act that undermines the rule of law, accountability, and the integrity of law enforcement. The Guyana Police Force in a statement said it has noted with concern an increasing number of incidents where persons have been attempting to influence police officers through bribes and tokens of appreciation in order to evade lawful procedures. The force said such actions not only compromise the values of justice and fairness, but also contribute significantly to the erosion of public trust in law enforcement institutions. The force said it remains committed to upholding professionalism, transparency, and zero tolerance for corruption, and has established internal mechanisms to identify, investigate, and deal decisively with any officer found engaging in corrupt practices. At the same time, the force said it noted that members of the public must play their part in the fight against corruption by refusing to offer bribes under any circumstance. Members of the public are reminded that both the giver and the receiver of a bribe are culpable under the law and will face the full consequences of their actions. Citizens are being encouraged to report instances of bribery or attempted bribery to the Secretariat of the Commissioner of Police. They can call hotline numbers 227-1611 extension 4001 or 225-6411. The move by the police force comes on the heels of an investigation that was launched after an outgoing passenger at the Chedijagan airport filed a complaint about police officers demanding money to release items that were lawful. Today, the police commissioner visited the Chedijagan International Airport, where he interacted with immigration officers and other police ranks. The police force has made a decision for all police officers stationed at the airport, including immigration officers, to now be outfitted with body cameras. More news coming up in just a moment.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look, you know the one, or one touch, even one word. I can start with one step, or one promise, one thrill, one first time, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life, just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
Your own home is so much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Quartz presents the Home Event 2025, happening now at Quartz stores nationwide. It's the perfect time to refresh your home. Come explore new arrivals, bestsellers, and deals you can't resist. Discover the widest range of stylish furniture, cutting-edge TVs, audio systems, and appliances that are smart and energy efficient, all backed by the Quartz low price guarantee. Our experts will help you choose what you need for your home. Shop with Quartz Ready Finance and get more. Don't miss the Quartz Home Event 2025. Quartz, bringing value home.
Let's tell you now that the Guyana Teachers Union has withdrawn and discontinued its contempt proceedings against a number of government officials over their failure to comply with an order of the court in relation to the remittance of union dues of teachers. The GTU's case stemmed from a judgment by High Court Judge Justice Sanel Kisoon, who had ordered the officials of the government to continue to deduct the union dues of teachers for the Guyana Teachers Union. The issue had its genesis in the strike action by teachers last year. Earlier this month, the Attorney General filed a notice of application to strike out the contempt of court proceedings on a number of technical grounds, including the failure to follow mandatory procedures to serve the contempt applications on those named. Additionally, the Attorney General contended that the contempt application was made more than 1 year after the time of the alleged contempt, and that the contempt of court proceedings cannot be instituted against the state unless there is compliance with certain provisions contained in the State Liability and Proceedings Act. At a hearing last week, an oral request was made for Justice Kissoon to recuse himself from the contempt proceedings, as the subject judgment was handed down by him previously. Justice Kissoon acceded to the request and adjourned the hearing pending the reassignment of the matter by the Chief Justice. Mr. Nandlal said he was subsequently served with a notice withdrawing and discontinuing the contempt proceedings altogether. The government's appeal of the earlier court ruling remains in place. The Attorney General appeared in person along with Darshan Ramdhani, Deputy Solicitor General Shoshana Lal, Principal Legal Advisor Renetta Sargent Prince, and State Counsel Omar Hoppy and Ron Austin. There are reports this evening that the GTU may be looking at other options. Well, almost 3 years after Guyana launched its first bidding round for 14 of its offshore oil blocks, the Minister of Natural Resources Vikram Bharat has indicated that the government is closer to signing a total of 4 production sharing agreements with some of the companies that were successful in the auction. In late 2023, the government awarded 8 of the oil blocks to a total of 6 bidders. However, disagreements over the non-fiscal terms in the new model PSA have stalled the issuance of the exploration license. During an appearance on the Starting Point podcast over the weekend, the Natural Resources Minister said the government was working to streamline its model PSAs for both the shallow and deep water blocks and wrap up negotiations with a number of the companies. He said it was important for the government to have a single PSA for all companies in the deep water blocks and similarly another PSA for the shallow water blocks.
The negotiation took some time, but I'm happy to say that we have wrapped up, I think, about 4 of those PSA will be signed in a month time or so.
This is October we're looking at?
Yes, in October. We have already made contact with those companies. They know themselves by now. So we are looking to sign that agreement in October with those 4 companies.
Back in January, the Natural Resources Ministry indicated that 4 of the companies, Total Energies Consortium, the International Group Investments Inc., Sibili Energy Limited, and Delcor, had all accepted the production sharing agreement. However, it is unclear if their position remains the same more than 9 months later. The Natural Resources Minister indicated that CISPRO, the lone Guyanese-owned women-led company, will be among companies signing off on the PSA, but only for one of the 2 oil blocks it was awarded.
2 blocks actually they bid for, and both were awarded to that company. However, one was in the deep and one in the shallow. To date, we have successfully negotiated the PSA for the shallow, the block in the shallow water.
With CISPRO.
With CISPRO. So we're moving ahead with that. And then at some point in the future, once we conclude the negotiation for the deep one, we will move forward with that.
And I just want
Under the new model PSA, that's the production sharing agreement, the royalty on all petroleum produced and sold by the contractor has been increased from 2%, as embedded in the Stabroek Block PSA, to 10%. It includes the retention of the 50-50 profit sharing after cost recovery. However, a company would not be able to recover more than 65% of the cost at the time. Now to that drug bust that took place at the airport 2 Saturdays ago. More than a week after the 146.9 pounds of cocaine was discovered stashed in a unit-load device at the Chalijagan airport, the investigations are ongoing, with no suspect in custody. An airport worker who was initially held for questioning was released without any charges being filed against him. The cocaine was about to be loaded onto a KLM Airlines flight to Amsterdam when the bust took place 2 Saturdays ago. News source understands that investigators from the Netherlands were in Guyana to offer assistance to local investigators and gather additional information about the bust. Additionally, security officials from KLM were also in the country to probe the attempt to load the cocaine onto the aircraft. Investigators suspect that there may be Guyanese links in Europe and South America that formed part of the efforts to get the cocaine out of Guyana. The bust was made by the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit, which discovered the cocaine in 53 plastic-wrapped parcels stashed at the bottom of the unit load device, which is used to load cargo and luggage onto an aircraft. Last year, 3 staffers at the Chedijagan International Airport were arrested and charged following a similar attempt to load cocaine onto a British Airways flight. KANU has been conducting a number of operations to curb drug trafficking with the assistance of local and international counterparts.
Your own home is so much more than just 4 walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank. We're the one for you.
Washi. Hi people. Washing made so easy since I found Washi. Washing me use wash me clothes and I can say wash it soap powder, wash clothes so nice. Wash it soap powder, leave your clothes color bright. Wash it soap powder, leave me clothes smelling nice, of course. So give thanks for wash it soap powder for doing my laundry right. Keep my clothes color bright, have my clothes smelling nice for sure. I could not ask for more. Comes in lemon and original. It is a washing machine in a pack. Wash it soap powder, wash clothes so nice. Wash it soap powder, leave your clothes color bright. Wash it soap powder, have my clothes smelling nice, of course.
Distributors located in the Stabrook Market.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look, you know the one, or one touch, even one word. I can start with one step, or one promise, one thrill, one first time, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life, just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
In the courts now, 20-year-old Georgetown Hospital orthopedic technician Travers Sinclair has been remanded to jail after he was charged over recording and sharing a video of local singer Lolita Calendar, also known as Lola Doll, while she was being attended to by doctors in the emergency room after being shot. Sinclair was charged under the Cybercrime Act, and during his appearance in court today, he was remanded to prison after pleading not guilty to the charge. The Georgetown Hospital had called in the police to investigate the matter after the video recording of the patient surfaced on social media. Sinclair was identified as a suspect, and according to the hospital, he was not even scheduled to be on duty at the time he allegedly made the recording. In a statement today, the Guyana Police Force explained that Sinclair was officially charged for the offense of transmitting of a private area of a person, contrary to Section 16.2a of the Cybercrime Act 16 of 2018, committed on Lolita Calendar. The case will continue on the 6th of October. High Court Judge Gino Poussat has set an October 31 date to hand down his ruling in the civil case brought by businessman and leader of the Wind Party, Azruddin Mohammed, against the Guyana Revenue Authority, challenging the authority's decision to make moves to seize his luxury vehicles. In one of the matters, the tax authority has accused Mohammed of falsely declaring the incorrect value of a Lamborghini Roadster luxury car that he imported back in 2020. Earlier this year, the GRA initiated a process of seizing the vehicle for taxes allegedly owed. Mohammed has since secured an injunction pending the decision of the High Court case. The cost of the luxury vehicle was reportedly stated as $75,300 instead of the $695,000 which the GRA contends is the true purchase price. Mr. Mohammed's attorney Sian DeJourn has argued that the facts of the case are clear, that more than 3 years ago, a Lamborghini and 2 Land Cruisers were imported by Mohammed, and the vehicles are his properties. He said when the vehicles were imported, the Revenue Authority conducted extensive queries into the costs of the vehicles. And in the case of the Lamborghini, an agent of the supplier was flown into the country to stand scrutiny as it related to the cost. The attorney also argued that the charges laid against Mohammed were instituted outside of the required time frame. Ahead of the ruling, the GRA Deputy Commissioner of Law Enforcement and Investigation, Rajendra Singh, submitted an affidavit in reply to the High Court, maintaining that the charges against Mohammed were belatedly instituted and arguing that the institution of summary proceedings for breaches of the Customs Act was well within the 7 years of the commission of the breach. The Deputy Commissioner also raised the issue of there being a similar case in the lower court. The Revenue Authority in another application asked the High Court to stay its decision pending the hearing and determination of the charges against Mohammed in the Georgetown Magistrates Court, where he was charged with tax evasion and fraudulent declaration. The trial in that matter is pending, having only recently been transferred to a new magistrate. 2 brothers from the South Rupununi area are expected to face the courts this week accused of stabbing their sister's reputed husband to death after the man refused their request to borrow his motorcycle. The incident occurred on Friday afternoon in the village of Marijuana in the South Rupununi. The dead man has been identified as 27-year-old Assis Joel. His wife's brothers, 20-year-old Hebrew Simon and 32-year-old Eloy Simon, have been arrested for the murder. A police report stated that the victim and the sister of the 2 suspects shared a common law relationship that saw the birth of 3 children. On Friday, the last of the 3 children was celebrating a second birthday, and the 2 uncles visited the family's home for their celebration. The report said Mr. Joel and his 2 brothers-in-law spent the entire Friday afternoon enjoying a homemade wine in the yard. When the bottle of wine finished late in the afternoon, Joel's wife took him inside the house while telling her 2 brothers that it was time for them to go home. The 2 brothers reportedly requested to borrow Joel's motorcycle, but he refused. That refusal led to an argument between the 3 men that quickly escalated. The wife reported that during the argument, one of her brothers armed himself with a kitchen knife and stabbed her husband. The man collapsed and died at the scene as the 2 drunken brothers escaped. The 2 men were later arrested by members of the community policing group the same evening and handed over to the police. The police said both admitted to the crime and were taken into custody. The investigations are still ongoing. Police investigators are continuing their probe tonight into the shooting death of 29-year-old Caneville East Bank Demerara resident Lakram Prasad during a hunting trip with a group of friends. Prasad's friend, 64-year-old Rocky Blackman, has been arrested over the fatal shooting incident along with 2 others. A police statement explained that on Saturday morning, Prasad and Blackman, along with 2 other friends, went on a hunting trip in the Friendship Village Bagdam on the east bank of Demerara. During their hunting, the 4 men reportedly came under attack by a swarm of African bees and ran in different directions. 2 of the friends, Wayne Gordon and Jacob Summer, reported to police that as they all ran in different directions, they heard a gunshot. Gordon and Summers said as the bees settled down, they went in search of the other 2 friends, Lakram Prasad and Rocky Blackman. Prasad was found in a nearby trench with a gunshot wound to the head. The police were contacted, and the injured man was taken to the Diamond Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. The other 3 men were taken into custody for questioning. The police said an empty shotgun casing was found at the scene. The main suspect, Rocky Blackman, is a holder of a firearm license. The probe is ongoing tonight.
Live the island dream. It's your chance to be one of over 100 winners in the Island Dream promotion. Win your share of more than $1 million in cash and prizes. Plus 2 all-inclusive weekend staycations for 2. And that's not all. Score coolers packed with Buster, Turbo, Altitude and Viva. Just buy any can or bottle of Turbo, Buster, Altitude or Viva. Find the code starting with BB. Then visit at Buster Guyana or Turbo_Caribbean on IG or Facebook for details. Live the island dream, get money. Live the island dream.
Guyana's economy is rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Oil is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Oil's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial and aerial transportation. Oil has now repositioned itself as a market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future for all of us.
With your regional and international news tonight, I am Svetlana Marshall in the region. The fight against drug trafficking must rest on cooperation and law, and interdictions should proceed under clear legal authority, says Antigua and Barbuda Prime Minister Gaston Brong. Brong made the comment while speaking after Trinidad and Tobago Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar at the United Nations General Assembly. Brong culminated his address by speaking about the conduct of counter-narcotics operations in the Caribbean Sea. Prime Minister Brong said interdictions should proceed under clear legal authority and rules of engagement that minimize risk of life, respect for sovereignty and the law of the sea, and prompt information sharing and review. He said Antigua and Barbuda stands ready to work with all partners against traffickers. However, it is concerned about the buildup of military assets, including a nuclear submarine, indicating the possibility of military conflict. Prime Minister Brong said the hemisphere should be respected as a zone of peace and not a theater of military conflict. Brong agreed that the nations of this world should be better together, as the United Nations General Assembly theme proclaimed. The Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, is raising concern about a mid-year surge in suicides, warning that the island could face a worsening crisis if urgent interventions are not stepped up. The warning comes against the backdrop of several recent suspected suicides that have reignited public debate about the pressures facing Jamaica's youth and young adults. Between January and September 2025, the JCF recorded 44 suicides, compared to 53 cases over the same period in 2024, a 16.9% decline year on. The JCF said at face value, the decline appears positive. However, the monthly breakdown reveals a troubling pattern. According to the police, suicides were consistently lower in the first 6 months of 2025 than in 2024. But July, August, and September showed a sharp reversal. July recorded 8 suicides, a 33% increase over July 2024, while August and September rose by 20% and 25% respectively. The police also highlighted shifting geographic patterns. And finally tonight, international news. U.S. President Donald Trump hosted Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for pivotal talks today to press him to back a Gaza peace proposal aimed at ending a nearly 2-year-old war that has seen Israel face growing international isolation. In Netanyahu's fourth visit since Trump returned to office in January, the right-wing Israeli leader was looking to shore up his country's most important relationship after a slew of Western leaders formally embraced Palestinian statehood last week in defiance of the U.S. and Israel. Trump, who had sharply criticized the recognition moves as a prize for Hamas, was seeking Netanyahu's agreement on a framework to end the war in the Palestinian territory and free the remaining hostages held by the militants. It marked a step-up diplomatic effort by a president who vowed during his 2024 presidential campaign to quickly bring the conflict to a close, and has since repeatedly claimed that a deal was near, only for it to fail to materialize. Washington presented a 21-point peace plan to Arab and Muslim states on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly last week, and Trump's main objective today is to try to close the remaining gaps with Netanyahu. The White House talks came as Israeli tanks on Monday thrust deeper into the heart of Gaza City, where Israel has launched one of its biggest offensives of the war this month, with Netanyahu saying he aims to wipe out Hamas. The war has left much of Gaza in ruins and caused a major humanitarian crisis. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Svetlana Marshall, wishing you a pleasant evening.